Today, we're going to talk about time. It's the most precious commodity in the world, and it's invaluable. You can sell your time and you can buy other people's time, but you can never buy back time. Once it passes, it's gone, and we only have so much of it. Welcome to Richersoul, your journey to a more purposeful, intentional, amazing life. Where are you going to go and how are you going to get there? Let's figure that out together. At the core is the financial well-being to be able to do what you want, when you want, how you want. It's about personal freedom. Some quick announcements first. I'm going to be doing 8 episodes, one on each of the areas that I laid out in the first episode. After that, we're going to find top experts in all these areas and have them on the podcast to dig deeper into the subjects. I'd like to get episodes out once a week. I'm also going to offer a free 2-hour coaching session to anyone who would be willing to have a session recorded and released as a podcast episode. I believe it's important for you to hear stories from other people and see how they struggle and overcome their financial issues. Don't worry, we can change your name and keep personal financial information off the recording. If you're interested, please email me. It's rocky@richersoul.com. Also, if you have feedback, please do the same. It's odd, so few people actually monitor their time accounts to make sure they are living life and enjoying their time in accordance with their goals and desires. We spend so much time on time wasters, Facebook, TV, and a useless email at work, and ignore the bigger things we should be focusing on. So often we spend more time worrying about something or stressing over doing something we don't want to do than we would if we had just dealt with it. All that brain power keeps us from achieving what we want. We need to learn to control our time and make it more effective. I'm not talking about a super scheduled life and a robotic adherence to a clock, more about focusing on what matters most in our lives. I saw this demonstration years ago in a time management class. They took a large empty jar, about a gallon in size, the massive pickle jar they sell at Costco. They proceeded to fill the jar with sand and then some pebbles and then some stones, and then they tried to put these really large rocks in. Problem was, they couldn't fit all of the large rocks in the jar. They explained, this is the way we manage our time. We have all these things to do, and the smaller things prevent us from doing the bigger things. The question was asked if we could find a way to put them in the jar and make them all fit. And quite frankly, it just didn't seem possible because there were so many large rocks left and so little room in that jar. Remember when I told you the story about baking a cake? Having the right ingredients and using them in the wrong order? You end up with a big mess, just like our time management skills. We want to get things done with what's important to us, with our family and other areas. And unfortunately, just like that jar, our time is filled and we don't get to the important things. However, there is a better way, and they showed it to us in that class. They took another jar, the exact same size, and another set of the exact same items to put in the jar, plus a little more. They started first with the large rocks. Surprisingly, all the large rocks fit into the empty jar. Okay, but what about all the other stuff? The jar looked pretty full. Next, they took the stones and they started putting them into the jar, and they filled it to the top. Then they shook the jar, and the stones started to settle, and then they could fit a couple more of them in. Now the jar looked really full, and yet they started to pour in the pebbles, shaking every so often. And what do you know? The pebbles fit. Next came the sand, and once again, pouring and shaking, the sand made its way into the bottle, filling in all the little bits of space. And lastly, they added another item. They poured in water, and even the water was able to fit into the jar. If you search on YouTube, you can find plenty of videos of this exact demonstration and see what I'm talking about. Some people take this to mean that there is always room to add something else to their schedule. But that's not the case. That's the wrong lesson. It's about doing things in the right order, recognizing this jar signifies your life. The large rocks are the truly important things, such as family, health, relationships, or whatever it is that you choose. And you have to choose. Don't let somebody else do it for you. If all else was lost and only those large rocks remained, your life would still be meaningful. The smaller stones are the other things that matter in your life, such as work, your business, or school. The pebbles are all the errands and the chores that we need to do in life. Taking kids to soccer, cleaning the house, going to the grocery store. The sand signifies the remaining small stuff, the material possessions we need to take care of, or the little things that come up within life. The water is the things that fill our time but have no meaning. Things like Facebook, Snapchat, TV, time wasters. Remember, when these things are done correctly and in the proper order, they do still fit into our life. No one's telling you to give them up. You can still do them. However, if we start our day with 2 hours on Facebook or worrying about the stuff we need to do, then the big stuff doesn't get done. If you put the sand in the jar first, there's no room for the rocks or the pebbles. The same can be applied to your lives. If you spend all your time and energy on small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are truly important. Pay attention to the things in life that are critical to your happiness and well-being. Take the time to focus on your large rocks first. There will always be time to go to work, clean the house, or do the grocery shopping. Take care of the rocks first, things that really matter. Set your priorities. So, you need to put your health, wealth, relationships, spiritual needs in the jar first, or whatever these big things are for you based on your life plan. That's up to you, and that's why having a life plan is so important, to define your rocks. No plan, the wrong stuff takes over your life, and you wonder why your jar is overflowing and you're getting nowhere. You're living on the hamster wheel. So, now that we know what our rocks are, how about putting systems in place to help getting things done faster? But before we do that, we need to talk about the Pareto principle. What this basically is that 80% of the results come from 20% of the effort, as well as Parkinson's law, which loosely translated means that work fills the time allocated to do this. The best example being a paper you had to write for school and you had 6 weeks to write it. And somehow you wasted 5 3/4 weeks and were able to get it done in one massive stretch in those last 2 days, wasting the rest of the time thinking about it. When we need to get stuff done on a time deadline, it just somehow happens. We get it done. It's been shown across many areas that 20% gets 80% of the results. And if you can figure out for yourself what the 20% is that gets you 80% of the result, and then look at the remaining 80% of time and figure out what provides 80% of the result again with 20% of the time, then mathematically, 40% of your efforts will get you 96% of the result. And that leaves you 60% more time to go crush something else. Most of what we are going to learn comes down to math, and this principle is amazing. Imagine spending 40% of your time at work getting 96% of the work done, and having more free time to do something else. For everything you need to do, figure out what is the important thing that creates the results. Is it answering the email, making the phone call, writing the report? In addition, you can also figure out ways to create systems to reduce those loads and get them done faster. Before I go over some examples of this, can you do me a favor? Remember to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes so you know when a new episode is released. And if you like what you hear, please leave a review or rate the show. It helps to get the word out. And lastly, if you know someone who can benefit from this information, please share the podcast with them. Also, if you have a question or comment, or I get something wrong, please email me. It's rocky@richersoul.com. Now, let's get back to some of the examples. First one, at work, repetitive questions from others on the same subject. The best thing to do is to create a standard response that handles this. It might take you 3 times longer or more to do this up front. However, once it's done, you can continually send the same info out and reduce future time being repetitive. The other option is a hurdle. When someone asks you to do something, ask for a small task to get you started. For example, if someone wants you to run a report, ask for a simple email with a couple of sentences of what they are looking to achieve and what parameters they want included. You would be surprised at how much work disappears because people won't do this little step of sending you the email, which saves you from all that useless work they tried to dump on you. You can do this in your personal life as well. Set a small bar for people to jump over before you're going to put your time and effort into it. Second area, if you find yourself running the same report every month, is there a way to reduce the steps needed to create the report or automate parts of it so it's done faster? If you can create a system to make this become automated, it might take you 3 or 4 times longer to build the system. However, if the system can reduce the time needed by 80% going forward, it's worth the time up front. I did this for my stock club. I need to run reports for our meeting that meant updating all the stock quotes and creating the reports we used. It used to take the guy before me an hour to do it. I do it in 5 minutes with a few button clicks and copying and pasting. The format of the reports changed slightly in order for me to be able to get it done so fast, but the people got used to the new way. It was far better than me wasting an hour doing something I really don't want to do, but it needed to get done. Here's another concept that I would like to introduce to you: minimum effective dose. This is something that I learned from Tim Ferriss when it came to exercise. Think about it. If 20% of the exercise gets you 80% of the result and 40% gets you 96% of the result, just eliminate the other 60%. That's the minimum effective dose of exercise to get you the maximum results you need. The rest is just wasted. This takes experimenting with better ways of doing things. We do a lot of things that, while keeping us busy, don't produce any results. So finding a way to do the minimum work to get the maximum result. Even more so, the additional work actually produces little to no gains. I've been able to cut down my gym time, get far better results by figuring out what really works. Again, you have to put the time in up front, but the end result is far more time in your day. By the way, if you are trying to work on exercise or diet, I do recommend Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Body. He's got a ton of great experimentation that he did there, and he can show you ways to get results with minimal effort and maximum results. So that brings us to the next thing, is to create systems so that things get done and it makes your life easier. So an example of this is if you have little kids, and the morning rush to get out of the house is crazy, you forget stuff, you're late, you miss the school bus, the day starts off horrible, and everything goes downhill. Create the systems to eliminate this. Backpacks ready at the door with your shoes the night before. Lay out your clothes and have the lunches ready to be pulled from the fridge in the morning. And life is so much easier. You can create systems in every part of your life. Think about it. McDonald's can build a system to deliver a hamburger consistently across an entire country regardless of who's doing the work. You can systematize your life to deliver the results you want every day. Simple checklists to ensure this occur. For everything that you do on a routine basis, create a list or a system to get stuff done. We have an Excel grocery list that we use. It's designed so that the order of the items are found in the store are the order that they're located on the list. When I go shopping, I follow the list and I make my way through the store. If it's not on the list, I don't think about it, and I can get a week's worth of grocery shopping done in 20 minutes. I don't zigzag back and forth. I just follow the list that's designed to get me through the store in the right order. Another thing that's easy, my kids wear uniforms for school, and it makes life so much easier. The one time they had dress down day was the day that we missed the bus because too much thought went into decision making in the morning. I know it's a bit boring, but it works. And if you don't really care that much, move along. Speaking of decisions, getting rid of decisions is another great thing. I wear white shirts for work. They're lined up clean on one side, dirty on the other, and I have enough for the week. My suits are in order. I grab a shirt. I grab a suit that's furthest to the right. I put it back on the left when it's done so it rotates, and a pair of shoes. No thinking, no effort, just quick, let's go, get it done. If I can eliminate multiple decisions throughout the day, I don't need to think about them. I can then think about more important things in life. It also saves me time. How much time do you spend on unimportant decisions every day? Let me ask you a question. Do you remember what you ate on the first Friday of last month? Probably not, but you may have spent 20 minutes thinking about what to have for dinner that day. 20 minutes on a decision that you don't even remember. Spend your time on what's important and memorable. We all have to get places. When I hop in the car, I have my phone pre-programmed with the addresses of the places I go most often. I open up the Waze app, which is traffic and directions. I pick the address and the app checks the traffic and finds me the best route for the moment. No sitting in traffic because I didn't know there was an accident. I bet when you drive to work, you take the same route. Do you even know if it's the fastest? Do you know what really drives me nuts? Every time I go to New York, New Jersey area, there are these toll booths. And then there's this easy pass lane. You get a transponder, you stick it on your windshield, and you can breeze through the toll booths at 50 miles an hour. And yet, every time I go there, there are people lined up waiting 10 to 20 minutes to go through the cash lane. What a useless waste of time. Not only that, I get a discount for using the automated system. Spend the 5 minutes to order the device that saves you tons of time and makes your life easy. This comes down to even some of the simplest things in life, like the morning coffee. I have to say, I hate those Keurig machines. I know many of you love them, but for me, I don't want to have to decide what kind of coffee, put it in the machine, wait for it to warm up, hit a button, wait 2 minutes for the coffee to brew. It's so much easier to have a timer pot that has the coffee ready when I come down in the morning, and I just pour it and go. Not to mention, my cup of coffee costs about a penny versus 50 cents. I drink a lot of coffee. It adds up. For some of you, though, you may want the 2 minutes to just stand and think. Fair enough. But be intentional with this decision and all your decisions. You have to figure it out. Experiment and find ways to get rid of the 80% of time that only produces 20% of the results. For me, I have multiple email addresses. One for stuff I never really want to check, and all the junk that they send me goes to that one email. One for my financial accounts, one for the stuff that I want. This way I don't have to spend tons of time on spam, and it all goes to my junk email. There are many experts and systems with Gmail to help you reduce and manage your email account. Spend the time to learn how to better manage your email if it takes up a good chunk of your time, and how to get your inbox to zero. Again, time up front saves you a ton of time later. So how do we start? The best way to start is just to spend a week keeping track of all the time you spend doing things and determine if the things you're doing are your rocks or your water. Did you create that life plan so you know what your rocks are and what you're going to focus on? Or do you just let your rocks appear and hope for the best? As you look at your life and see the things that cause you to spend time, determine if they are also part of your rocks. For example, a large house with a big lawn requires a lot of maintenance. Is this part of what you want in life, or are you living in that house to impress someone you don't even care about? It takes a lot of work to keep it up. Of course, the other option is to have someone else do the work for you. Getting rid of stuff and obligations reduces the time we need to commit to it. You can also outsource many tasks, such as cleaning, shopping on Amazon versus going to the store, or many simple things through the use of online services that are out there. There's things like TaskRabbit or Fancy Hands that will do many small tasks for you, or do research on the internet for a vacation, or help you get stuff done. It may even be worthwhile to outsource tasks at work for a couple of dollars so you can concentrate on your rocks. By getting rid of the stuff you don't like to do, you really free up your mind to do what you do want to do. However, if that's just sitting in front of a TV being a consumer, it may not be the best idea. The other area is to remove things in your life that take up too much time. I buy no iron shirts because I'm not going to waste half an hour a week ironing them or driving to the dry cleaner. If you can remove items that require maintenance and time, it also helps to clear out your day. Be proactive. Many times we don't do the things that should be done and could be done in a short time, and then when we didn't, we end up having to spend far more effort fixing and dealing with the problem because it got a lot worse. You know when maintenance needs to be done. You know when you have to pay bills so you don't end up paying more in late fees. You know when the book or the movie needs to be returned. So do it on time so you don't have to pay more. Or figure out a better way to do it so that you don't have to worry about returning it. The reality is, every person has the same hours in the day, the week, and the year. You choose how to allocate yours is up to you. But don't say you don't have time, because others in your situation do. Figure out how they did it and make the change. You may need to try small experiments to see what works for you. The best first step is simply to start tracking your time and see where it goes. There are many free apps that will do this for you, or you can just use pen and paper. The reality is, we overestimate what we can do in a day, and we underestimate what we can do in years. Take small steps in a direction and allow the compounding curve to do its magic can lead to a massive results over a decade. The reality is that life can change in a split second. An accident, loss of a job, death of a family member. You can either let life give you that split-second decision to make a change, or you can make the changes yourself. That's up to you. If you're struggling and you're not sure where to start, please email me. It's rocky@richersoul.com, and I'll see if I can answer your questions on a show. So, for today's challenge, create a time log and keep track of how you spend your life for a week. See if that log matches the life you want to live and how you want your time to be spent. If you want a richer, more enjoyable life, start making changes to bring your most precious resource, time, into line with how you want it spent. So few people do this, and that's why they are busy running around on a hamster wheel. You can choose to be intentional and in control. It's not that hard. For most people, the difference is a very small factor that brings about a massive change. Let me know if your results provided any surprising truths about how you spend your time. I've created a simple tracking sheet that you can use to track your day. If you'd like to get it, check the show notes and I'll let you know where the download is. Before we close out this session, I want you to understand my role. It's a dual role. Part one is conductor, not the one on the train, the one who stands in front of the orchestra. Too often in life, we have so many competing priorities. And even in the 8 areas that we talked about today, finding a way to keep them in harmony. Many times work jumps on us, or the family pulls us, or our finances go south. Having someone to help you look over all those pieces and help find balance is the job of a conductor. The second role is Sherpa. If you want to climb Mount Everest, you'll need a few Sherpas, guides who know the way and can help you get to the top. In both of these roles, it's you that has to do the hard work. I'm just here to educate, guide, teach, and show a path. And since I don't know you personally, you need to make sure that this is the right path for you and that the information is correct and is most helpful. In our next episode, we're going to explore our mindsets and how they hinder us from achieving the lives that we want to live. Till then, have a great week.